parts of it were very stressful, you know, just because you're away from home, and I was definitely out of my comfort zone, being thousands upon thousands of miles away from home, you know. And it was funny because most of the time we was up there, you know, I would almost, it's like you black out. It's like you're up there and then you're off, and it's like, what the crap, you know, just what just happened. It's his eyes, man. He locks into you, you know what I mean? But he particularly, I don't know, I love Lionel so much, and they call him Papa Lionel on the show because he's just like a father figure to everybody, man. It would definitely be from an early age, man, because, you know, I grew up with a dad that he's still very heavily influenced on me with music and stuff. I had constant music in the house, and just as, you know, just from a very early age, you know, my dad was in a band growing up, and I grew up listening to their CDs and playing them over and over and over and over, you know what I mean? Because I was just, I don't know, obsessed with the fact that I thought my dad was a rock star, you know what I mean? So I fell in love with that, I think, and I don't know, man, yeah, definitely just because of my dad and stuff. Really, because I just wanted to be so much like him, man. You know, I looked up to him so much, and just in every way, but especially in music, because you know, he got me my first guitar when I was about 13, and I really started getting into it around that time. Well, not around, yeah, probably around 13. I was actually younger when he got me a guitar, but I didn't really start like trying to write my own music and stuff till I was probably about 15, 16 or something like that, and then it just kind of, I don't know, man, it just kept going. But I had no expectations this stuff was gonna happen, but it did, so. I'm pretty sure it was a breakup song about a girl I was dating, and I was just brokenhearted. It was my first relationship. I think that's what it was about. It was a song I wrote called Pedestal, and I wrote it forever ago, yeah. But yeah, play that later on. It was always my dream, but it just kind of felt so far away, I guess, you know. And I'm just a small town kid, man, from Eastern Kentucky. There's not very much things going on there. I mean, there's people that's come out of there, this and that, but you know, it's just a small little town. And you know, I started work right out of high school, and I had a little boy at a very young age, and I was kind of content with where I was at, what I was doing, but you know, it just felt like it was kind of so far away, out of reach. But ended up just having a buddy come along in my life and sign me up for American Idol, and just changed my life forever. That was another thing I actually got from my dad also. It was either those two things, you know. He taught me how to do both, and that was kind of how that worked out. That was really the only two things I knew. It was either, you know, do music, or for me, in my eyes, that's all it was on my only options. Like, I just wanted to either, you know, do hands-on work or play music. They kind of pulled it out of me. They made me do it. You know what I mean? I didn't necessarily want to sing at all. Around people, I was just extremely shy, which I still am, but it's just definitely, you know, performing on stages after stages, you open up a little bit more after a while. But they basically had forced me, man, to sing all the time, and they would make these videos, and I think they were trying to blow up on TikTok or something like that. I didn't even know what TikTok was at the time, but they were trying to make all these videos and stuff. That's the truth. Originally, I was actually working for a lawn care business, and I got switched over to that company, to that side of the company. It was for the same company, but I had started working construction with these boys, and I met this guy named Arthur, and he had tons of videos of me singing just around the side or whatever, wherever we was at. And I don't know, man, he was just sitting on his phone. He had seen when they were having American Idol auditions in Kentucky at the time, and he just decided to send me a couple videos, see what they say, and I was like, all right, and then just kind of went from there. Really.
That's awesome.
Yeah, as
so,
well.
Like, do you remember what you sang around the construction site?
God, a little bit of everything. Maybe we'd sing some Chris Stapleton and all kinds of stuff. But it's pretty cool, because I didn't even realize this till the other day, but the reason I ended up singing Stay on the show is because the producers had known that I knew a little bit of it, because I had sang a little bit of that song back home, and they Arthur had took a little video of it and sent it to them, and they knew I could sing that, and I just sang the first couple of lines, because they wanted me to sing the song, but I didn't necessarily know the song. I ended up having to learn it, and I don't know, that song ended up kind of being my big turning point on the show, so that's kind of cool how that worked out. I've never really had anybody do something like that for me, I mean, in that way, but like, I don't know, it's definitely just changed my life, like, dramatically. It's kind of crazy how much it's changed my life, you know, but it's all because he just sent in those videos, man, and we all hung out, and we were just hanging around at work, and we got on a Zoom call and sang a couple songs, and they were like, all right, why don't you fly out and come sing a song in front of the judges? We were like, holy crap, man, all right, let's do it. It just, the way it worked out, it's kind of amazing, but that's how it really happened, and it's just mind-blowing, really. I was freaking out when I walked in, dude. I felt like I was watching the show or something, you know what I mean? It was so weird. I was so uncomfortable. I didn't know what to say. I was just at loss for words. I was completely in shock. I was starstruck. I was everything you could possibly imagine. That's what I was that day. But I just remember walking in and looking at all the judges, and they were all so nice and everything, but I was just freaking out, man. But the song I ended up singing was a song by Cameron Marlowe, and yeah, it was a song called Giving You Up. You know, I love that song. Reason for, you know, it's the reason why I got a gold ticket in the first place. But I don't know what it was about that song, man, but I really fell in love with that song months before American Idol or anything. I don't know what it was about it, man. To be honest, it just is one of those things that just felt like I felt comfortable with it, and I just loved the song so much, and I felt like it kind of suited my voice, I guess, a little bit in a way, and I just ended up choosing it as my audition song. Definitely number one was like, you know, I had basically a newborn baby back home. It was hard being away from him, you know what I mean? That was stuff I thought about a lot, and I was trying to call his mommy as much as possible and talk to him and stuff, but it made me feel better, you know. But it's definitely a lot, you know. It's being on a national television show. For me, it was anyways. It was very, parts of it were very stressful, you know, just because you're away from home, and I was definitely out of my comfort zone, being thousands upon thousands of miles away from home, you know. And I think now, just getting to travel around with my band, and we've all become so close, and we're like family now, you know what I mean? It makes up for it, man, because we get to just enjoy our time with each other and play shows, meet fans, and yeah, that's how I've kind of overcome that. That song, it wasn't really my idea to do. You know, the producers had come to me, and I wasn't even really gonna sing that. Megan Wolfick, she's like I believe she's like the head producer of American Idol. She's an awesome woman. I love her to death, and she still messages me all the time, just checks up on me. We talk a lot, but I think initially I was gonna sing a completely different song, but they had switched the papers out and put that song in, cause I was going into a rehearsal room with the mentors or whatever, and they had switched the song I picked out and put that song in there for me to do it anyways, and I was like, oh my God, dude, so now I gotta learn this song. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it happened, but you know, I'm glad they did, man, because it wouldn't have worked out the way it did, so, you know. I tried to take every bit of advice I possibly could from everybody, you know, as far as producers go, or the judges, either way. You know, I remember Lionel had looked at me at one point throughout the show, and he just told me, every time you step on that stage, step on there with some big boots. And I tried to tell myself that, you know, every night, but during the show, and it's just hard, man. But you know, I feel like I've definitely found myself throughout my own journey, I guess, coming off the show and doing my own things, playing my own shows, and getting to, you know, find myself as an artist and stuff. So yeah. I was just this kid that got signed up for the show, and I had, oh my God, everybody back home telling me I was gonna win it, and the whole time I was like, I'm not gonna win this show. You guys are stupid. I don't know what you're thinking. And like, I was just on it for months, and it all came down to that moment, and I was like, man, probably around the top 3, I was like, man, what if I really win this thing? You know what I mean? And I didn't really know how to feel about that at the time. You know, I was like, wow, like, it's kind of a crazy thing, you know? It's something that I didn't even necessarily sign myself up for. It's just something that just happened in my life, and then all of a sudden you win it. It's kind of, you know, it's kind of unrealistic at the time, feels like anyways, you know, but it was a crazy moment. Definitely one of the best moments of my life, but I was just at loss for words. I didn't really even know what to say, you know? It was just amazing. Or just to make sure I stick to my roots and make sure I stay myself, always stay humble, you know what I mean? And that's something I try to do all the time. It's you know, I've always been very humble, but I feel like it's a very important piece to keep and hold on to, because, you know, people see that, people feel that, you know, at the shows, or whether, you know, we're doing meet and greets and I'm talking to every single person in the crowd. Everybody feels that, and then you gotta stay connected with the fans, I feel like, you know, so, yeah. The thing I said earlier with Lionel, man, that was definitely for me. That, for some reason, when he said that, it just stuck with me. I don't know what it was about it. It's just, I never forgot it. And it was that, because it was funny, because most of the time we was up there, you know, I would almost, it's like you black out. It's like you're up there and then you're off, and it's like, what the crap, you know, just what just happened. And then But for some reason that night, I remember him telling me that, and it's just something about, it's his eyes, man. He locks into you, you know what I mean? But he particularly, I don't know, I love Lionel so much, and they call him Papa Lionel on the show because he's just like a father figure to everybody, man. He just treats everybody so good. And he's always got something so good to tell you and something so good to say, you know what I mean, all the time. And he always told me, you know, that night he told me that, it was just like I really paid attention to what he was saying, you know. Yeah, man. Well, the whole EP is kind of a whole mix-up. I feel like it's like, you know, there's some breakup songs, and then which I like. I think it's kind of cool. It's just, I mean, there's some breakup songs, then there's some happy songs, whatever, this and that. But the title track off the EP is really the one I was most excited about it, I guess, because it was about a certain time I was going through a breakup, and the title necessarily, I wrote it with a girl named Allison Veltz and Eric Argis, and Allison had come in and she had this title, Middle of God Knows Where, and I really didn't know what she meant by that title at the time, you know what I mean? But when she explained it, it just kind of fit exactly, you know, my story and how I felt at the time, so it just kind of fit right in with what I was wanting to say, and that's why I felt like it ended up being the title off the track, because it felt like something at the time I was going through, and it just, I don't know, it was cool. Probably had to be Middle of God Knows Where, honestly, because it was coming from a very vulnerable place, and obviously I wasn't very used to writing with people at the time either. Also, you know, I'd never even done a co-write before I moved to Nashville or anything, you know. So I was still trying to figure out how co-writes necessarily worked, you know. And you go into a room and you open up, man. You beat your split. I feel like that's the key into going into a room, is to be vulnerable and be open and be honest about what you want to write about, and that's how a good song comes about, you know. But that song definitely meant the most to me. I felt like Stay was just such a big accomplishment for me. Not necessarily accomplishment, but such a big turning point for me on American Idol, and it'll always have an important piece of me, because it was the song that I feel like it was the song that gave me a chance and just made me realize, man, I might really want to do this, you know, I guess, once I was on the show, because there were definitely times when I was like, God, I just partially, when's this gonna end? When am I gonna go home? Not because I wanted to necessarily, but just because it was hard for me being away for so long, this and that, man. But that song was like, just gave me a chance and gave me a reason to keep going. So it's honestly really cool when we play it, because it's my full country rendition of it, and everybody's like out there screaming it, and it's just so cool, man. It's awesome. I don't know, man. Hopefully they can take anything away from it, honestly, because it's got different songs on it where, like I said, you know, there's a song on there also with Make You Rich. It's like that song's about finding joy in things in life that are so little but yet so important to you that sometimes we just forget about, you know what I mean? And I felt like that's why I wanted to cut that song also, but it was really cool getting to do that song also, just because of my little boy. Once we shot the video for that, he got to be a part of it and everything too. But there's a whole different, I feel like there's just different categories of songs on the EP, and it's just neat to see, I feel like, for me, especially just because it's my first project ever too, so just a whole mix up of different things. So I'll just say, man, honestly, you just gotta, whether it takes a buddy or it just takes yourself, like, you just gotta, I mean, go for it, man. I mean, just do it, because I mean, one day you look back on it and wish you did, you know. That's the best thing I could say, for real. I've definitely grown confidence-wise, and just as a human, you know. I feel like the show was a good learning thing for me, but that's what's cool about it, because, you know, the producers even said it, you know, American Idol is almost like a boot camp for singers, you know what I mean? And once you come off that show, it's like your time is now, like this is when all the work really starts, you know what I mean? You think it's hard then, it's hard now, you know? But it's cool though, man, because you kind of get to learn and grow on your own and figure yourself out as an artist and just as a human being. So honestly though, I hope everybody's just liking the EP, and if they haven't heard it yet, I'd love for everybody to check it out.